Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're digging into this really comprehensive collection you've put together on meditation.
Yeah, starting and actually sticking with a practice. There's
Yep.
a lot here.
For sure. Headspace, Calm, Harvard Health, Mayo Clinic. It's quite the stack.
It really is.
So, our mission today is to pull out the core, practical stuff, how you can build a routine that, actually helps without just being another stressor.
Exactly. Whether you're just curious, trying to get back on track, or maybe go a bit deeper, we want to connect the dots for you.
Connect the dots from all these different angles. Okay, let's jump in. The first thing that just screams out from almost every source is consistency.
Oh, absolutely. It's unavoidable. They all hammer this point home.
It's like physical exercise, right? You don't get fit going to the gym once a month.
Precisely. It's about that regular engagement. Short, consistent practice beats long, sporadic sessions every time, especially for, mental well-being.
Headspace had that quote, something like, to truly experience the benefits, commit to meditating on a very regular basis.
Day after day with gentle and considered discipline. Yeah, I remember that one. It's gentle, but it's clear.
Right. And they link it to habit building. Same time, same place, if possible.
Yeah, the routine aspect is huge. It just sort of automates it, reduces that daily decision of should I or when.
Takes the mental effort out of it. And I
Right.
like how they framed it as prioritizing mental health.
Nothing is more important than the health of your mind. It shifts it from a nice to have to something fundamental.
Which makes sense. And Harvard Health, looking at Dr. Stahl's research, backs this up with the timing.
Yes, exactly. Saying even just 10 or 15 minutes a day,
Yeah.
done consistently, is more effective than, say, an hour once a week.
Wow. So frequency really trumps duration, especially at the start.
Seems to be the key takeaway. Consistency is king.
Okay, establish. Consistency is crucial. Now, the next big thing everyone grapples with, the wandering mind, that feeling that you're just thinking the whole time.
Ah, yes. The universal challenge. So many people think they're failing because their mind isn't blank.
Which feels impossible.
It practically is. And all these sources, Headspace, Mindful, others, they all say, look, it's completely normal, it's expected. Your brain is going to think.
Okay, that's honestly a relief to hear, because it can be really discouraging.
Totally. So the shift in perspective is key. The goal isn't to stop thinking.
Right.
It's more about noticing the thoughts, observing them without getting swept away.
Like clouds in the sky. I think Headspace used that analogy.
Exactly. Thoughts are clouds. Awareness is the sky. They just drift through. You don't have to chase them or push them away. Just notice
Yeah.
without judgment.
Easier said than done sometimes.
Oh, for sure. It takes practice. But when you do notice you've drifted off, which you will, constantly, at first the actual practice is just gently bringing your attention back.
Back to your breath. Or sounds.
Yeah, back to your chosen anchor.
Yeah.
Breath, body sensations, sounds, whatever it is. Gently, kindly.
Yeah.
It's not about forcing focus.
So the work is actually in that gentle return. Noticing, returning, noticing, returning.
That's the core loop. And crucially, doing it without beating yourself up. WebMD, Headspace, they stress this self-compassion part.
Don't judge the wandering. It's just what minds do.
Exactly. It's part of the process, not a bug.
Okay, that reframes it nicely. So, be consistent, accept the wandering mind. Let's get super practical now. How do we actually build this habit? What are the concrete steps?
Right, the how-to. Well, first, big tip. Start small, really small.
How small are we talking?
Like Zen habits suggest maybe 1 or 2 minutes. Seriously.
1 minute. Anyone can find 1 minute.
That's the idea. Lower the barrier to entry. Times of India also says start short, then gradually add time as it feels right. Don't try to be a hero on day one.
Okay, start tiny. What else?
Consistent timing. Pick a time that generally works and try to stick to it. Headspace likes mornings, but Mindful says find your best time.
Makes sense. And a dedicated space. Does that help?
It can, yeah. Mindful suggests finding a quiet spot, somewhere comfortable that you kind of associate with meditating. It acts as a cue.
Like a visual reminder. Okay, now this one seemed really smart. Habit stacking.
Yes. Super powerful strategy. Lots of sources mention this.
Explain that a bit more.
So you link your new meditation habit to something you already do every single day without fail.
Like
Meditating for 2 minutes right after you brush your teeth, or while the coffee's brewing, or before you check your phone.
I see. So the old habit triggers the new one.
Precisely. It piggybacks on an existing neural pathway. Much less effort required to remember.
Clever. Okay, so start small, consistent time, maybe a space. stack the habit. What about, life getting in the way? Flexibility.
Good point.
Mm.
Headspace mentions this. You need some flexibility. Things happen. You might miss your usual time or place.
Right.
But the trick is, don't let flexibility become an excuse to just skip it altogether. Adapt, maybe do a shorter session later, but try to keep the thread going.
Flexibility with boundaries. Got it. And what about this idea of perfection? Trek to do it right.
Yeah, let that go. Headspace is really clear. There's no right or wrong way to meditate. Showing up is the win. Focus on the process, not some perfect, imagined outcome.
It takes a lot of pressure off.
Totally. And another tip, notice how you feel afterwards. Headspace suggests this. Even subtle shifts, a bit calmer, maybe slightly more focused.
Why is that important?
It reinforces the connection. Your brain starts to associate the practice with feeling, well, better, even slightly. It builds motivation. Plus, you start noticing those wider benefits, sources like the NHS mentioned stress reduction, better sleep eventually.
Creates a positive feedback loop.
Okay.
And tracking is an output.
For some people, definitely. Headspace suggests tracking sessions. Ticking a box using an app, it gives that sense of accomplishment, reinforces the habit visually.
Right. And the last big practical point.
Patience, just
Yeah.
patience. Headspace calls it a long-term skill. Harvard Health compares it to physical training. You get stronger with practice over time. Doesn't happen overnight.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. Okay. That's a lot of good actionable stuff. Now, quickly, let's bust some myths that might stop people even starting.
Good idea. Biggest one. You need a totally clear, empty mind.
Which we know now is not the point.
Nope. It's about observing the thoughts, not obliterating them.
Myth busted. What else?
Expecting instant calm or bliss.
Yeah.
First session and you're floating.
Yeah, probably not going to happen.
Right. It's gradual. It's training. You wouldn't expect to run a marathon after one jog.
Good analogy. And the idea that there's one right way to do it.
Also a myth. Which brings us to the different techniques.
Yeah, your sources mention quite a few.
Mindfulness, just focusing on breath, body scans, mantras, walking meditation, guided apps, counting breaths, visualization.
Yeah, lots of options.
Loads. The advice seems to be explore, try a few things, see what clicks for you. There isn't a single best method for everyone.
Find your flavor. Okay, so last section, overcoming those common beginner hurdles. We've covered the wandering mind and unrealistic expectations.
Right, those are huge.
What else trips people up?
Well, finding the time and sticking to it consistently, that's a big practical challenge.
So back to scheduling, habit stacking, and remembering even 10, 15 minutes counts, like Harvard Health said.
Exactly. Reiterate those strategies. And self-judgment is another big one. Feeling like you're bad at it.
Which goes back to that self-compassion piece, non-judgmental awareness.
Precisely. And sometimes people struggle with restlessness, feeling fidgety, or the opposite, getting sleepy.
Yeah, what about those?
Harvard Health had suggestions. If you're restless, maybe try adjusting your posture, sit taller, or even try walking meditation. If sleepy, maybe meditate when you're more alert, or again, ensure you're sitting upright, not slouched.
So adapt the conditions slightly, but keep the core practice.
Yeah, find ways to work with your state rather than just giving up because you feel fidgety or tired that day. It's about sustainable integration.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's try and boil this all down. If you listening are trying to build this practice, what are the absolute must-remember points from this deep dive?
I'd say 1. Consistency over duration. Short and regular beats, long and rare. 2. The wandering mind is normal. Gently guide it back without judgment. Be kind to yourself.
Okay, 2 down.
3. Make it easy. Start small and use habit stacking. Link it to something you already do. 4. Patience. It's a skill you build over time.
Consistency, acceptance, smart integration, and patience. That seems like a solid foundation.
I think so. It captures the essence of what all these different sources are pointing towards.
This has been really clarifying, pulling all those threads together. And hopefully for you listening, this helps cut through the noise and gives you a clear, achievable path.
Yeah, the goal was to make it feel less overwhelming and more doable.
So maybe a final thought for you to consider. What's one tiny step, like really tiny, you could take today?
Could be just setting a reminder. Or deciding, okay, tomorrow morning, 2 minutes while the kettle boils.
Just one small thing. And then maybe notice how you feel right after. Even if it's subtle, plant that seed.
Exactly. See what resonates from all this and maybe explore that specific area a bit more on your own time.
Perfect place to leave it. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.